Welcome, folks, to another episode of the Night Crusaders YouTube series. And today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to have a little bit of a reading from one chapter of Night Crusaders Series Episode 2, History of Draegahn Part 1, which is titled Realm of the Invader. So without further ado, let's get to it. Chapter 15, A Gift for the Lady of Draegahn. One night in early 2320, Phelim was alone with Lord Draegahn in Lord Draegahn's sacred quarters of the castle tower. Phelim could not help noticing the sadness on Lord Draegahn's face as he sat at his desk staring at a hologram image of his wife. "You really miss her, don't you?" Phelim asked. "More than you can imagine," Lord Draegahn replied. "Of course," Phelim said. "After all, you have not seen her since before you first arrived on Earth. That's over 25 years in Earth time, Draegahn." Lord Draegahn said, "Thank the star gods it's not that long in our time." And Phelim said, "So true, Draegahn. I just can't wrap my head around how these Earthlings deal with their pathetically short lifespans." Phelim and Lord Draegahn started laughing. But then Phelim became more serious as he suggested that Lord Draegahn should invite his lady to come visit him on Earth. Lord Draegahn had not seen his lady in quite a while, and wanted very much to please her when she arrived. So Phelim advised Lord Draegahn to prepare a gift for his lady. Phelim pointed out that the offering could not just be any gift, but a gift worthy of a Draegahnian woman of exalted power and magnificent beauty. So the next day, Phelim arranged for the council to decide on a suitable gift for Lady Draegahn. The council took 3 hours to submit the proposal accepted by Lord Draegahn. Phelim immediately prepared a small fleet of soldiers to send to the planet Xylax, one of Lord Draegahn's conquests, where Lady Draegahn ruled. Xylax was also the planet where Lady Draegahn was teaching their son, Prince Valius, how to be a tyrant ruler. The soldiers were to meet Lady Draegahn, greet her, and tell her that her lord wished her to come to Earth to see his latest conquests. On Monday, March 1st, 2320, a few hours after the fleet had departed Earth, Lord Draegahn issued this decree. "Go and search every city and town in the Draegahnian Empire and bring to me the finest earth-born human males to serve as slaves of Draegahn, lady and second highest authority in the country of Draegahn. These men must be the healthiest, strongest, most handsome men, earthborn men in the empire. They shall be between 18 and 35 Earth years of age and represent many, if not all, Earth-originated races. These fine young men shall be brought to Castle Draegahn to be broken, trained, and groomed to become men worthy of serving an exalted woman of Draegahnian royalty. As I have said it, so it shall be done." As Lord Draegahn finished delivering the decree, Phelim shouted, "Now get moving. You have less than 1 Earth year to present to Lord Draegahn his lady's gift." And so the royal soldiers departed. They visited and or communicated with just about every city and town in Draegahn. Once the royal soldiers found earthborn men who looked handsome and healthy, they kidnapped the men from the streets and from their homes. Some men fought back, but none succeeded in escaping capture. Many men, especially the youngest men, had family and friends who tried to fight back to prevent the men from being captured. But many resistors were first threatened and then killed if they refused to surrender to chosen man or boy. Plaxian rulers, quick background, the word Plaxian, these soldiers are from the planet Plaxia, so that's why the word Plaxian is used to describe them. They're from the planet Plaxia. Okay, moving on. Plaxian rulers of human towns were drafted into the objective. Plaxian rulers who hated Earthlings were enthusiastic about submitting to the decree, but Plaxians who favored Earthlings did what they could to protect the prospective men, including hiding and otherwise helping them avoid the royal soldiers. They gave the men such advice as, pretend you are sick or dying. These noble-hearted Plaxians also tried other tactics to protect their earthborn male subjects from Lord Draegahn's decree. The majority of their collaborative efforts were successful. 2 Plaxian rulers, however, were caught. They were duly stripped of their rulership and sentenced to death. By March of 2321, Palace Draegahn held more than 100,000 of the Draeghanian Empire's handsomest and strongest earth-born human men, bound in chains and stripped naked to be inspected by Lord Draegahn himself. Lord Draegahn was pleased with what the royal soldiers had brought to him. Among the captured were boys as young as 14 and men up to the age of 48. Now Lord Draegahn was ready to tell the earthborn males why they had been captured. Upon hearing this, many of the men decided they were not going to have any part of it. Some of the men, however, had a change of mind after being threatened with violence and having acts of violence perpetrated upon them by the royal soldiers while they were bound. Other men were more stubborn and were shot in the head as a result. 200 of the men were killed in a single day as a result. This made the majority of the remaining captured men more compliant and obedient. Following the orders of Lord Draegahn, the human males were made to submit to training on how to serve a woman of Draegarian royalty. So the trials, both mental and physical, proper diets, exercise programs, and beauty regimens were set up for the men. The men were boarded in a housing complex adjacent to the palace, built especially for them. The housing complex was under military guard all day and night, and the men had strict curfews to which they had to abide. A few days after the daily routines were instituted for the men, Lord Draegahn began to notice that many of his female soldiers, particularly the Draegarian women, were infatuated with the earthborn male slaves. This upset him. So Lord Draegahn strictly forbade any sexual relations between any Plaxians and his earthborn male slaves. One day in late 2321, Lord Draegahn was taking a casual stroll down one of the palace hallways when he heard the sound of a female moaning coming from one of the palace bedrooms. He went to open the door and saw an earthling male pleasuring one of his Draegarian female soldiers. When the soldier saw Lord Draegahn standing in the doorway, she was struck with terror. The young woman began to plead for her life. "Sovereign, oh no, please, my lord, please. Oh God, please. I meant no disrespect. Oh, please, sovereign, I'm so sorry. Please, my lord," she said as she slowly tried to dress herself and stand up. But when Lord Draegahn saw what she was doing, he stuck his palm out and said, "It's okay, Vikyras. It's okay. Just don't have intercourse with that man." The female soldier replied, "Of course, sovereign, of course." Then Lord Draegahn closed the door and started walking away, but stopped for a moment to listen. He heard Vikyras say, "Well, what are you waiting for, you miserable piece of earthborn garbage? Get back to pleasuring me." Lord Draegahn grinned as he continued to walk away. Over the course of the past year, most of the men, for one reason or another, had been eliminated and sent home. For the most part, the men were eliminated either because of their size, their endurance, their physical endowment, or because they were not seen as capable or worthy of serving a woman of Draegahnian royalty. Phelim ordered the treasury officers to provide compensation to either the men themselves or the family of the men they were sending home. The redresses provided very little comfort to these earthborn families whose young men had been snatched away from them and subsequently abused. Some families even attacked the soldiers returning the men, but in all cases, the attackers were arrested or killed. Phelim sent the captain of the royal guard to tell the remaining men about Lady Draegahn and give them instructions on the specifics of the services they were expected to provide to Lady Draegahn. He made sure these men understood that they were to be the property of their sovereigness, and any failure to obey or otherwise please her will result in the punishment of her choosing, which could be mild or as severe as punishment, or be severe, which could be punishment of her choosing, which could be mild or as severe as castration or torture or death. And we're going to stop there because the next sentence says back on the planet Plaxia. This tells that this chapter is going on to tell us what's going on the planet Plaxia at this exact same time. But that's not really relevant to the gift for the Lady of Draegahn. So therefore, we're going to stop there. Thank you very much for joining me for this reading. Go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button and tell me what you think. And join us once again sometime in the near future for another YouTube episode of the Night Crusaders Series.